We'd like to invite Don Robinson to come up and sing our national anthem for us, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
But what a lot of us don't know about our national anthem is that as Mr. Key was penning the words, as he saw our flag standing upright during that final battle, is that each time the flag would dip, see, they were shooting cannonballs at our flag to get our flag down. And each time our flag would start to drop, some American soldiers would go out and hoist the flag back up and hold on to the flag themselves until he got shot. And then another soldier went out on top of him and stood on top of him and held it. And then until he got shot, and so on and so forth. Throughout the night, our flag stood. But what we found out the next day when we went to the fort and we saw our flag, there were hundreds and hundreds of American bodies holding our flag up. And I want each of us, as we're going through our ceremonies today, to remember the sacrifice that so many of our veterans have made for all of us through the decades, from the time of our origination as a country to current day in our engagements in Iraq and Afghanistan. At this time, I have the privilege of introducing Lieutenant Misty Rupp from the Salvation Army.
Well, good morning and welcome. We are honored and blessed to have such a great contingency of wonderful people who've given their lives and service to the duty of establishing freedom for our great nation. Thank you for joining us today, and you might notice that I am wearing the old-fashioned Salvation Army Lassie bonnet. The reason for this is because my daughter and I will actually be serving donuts in the gymnasium to anyone who wants one. Yeah, you can clap. Yum. So if you didn't have breakfast, you'll get a donut. And if you didn't have lunch, we're serving lunch as well. Also, in 1917, when President Woodrow Wilson declared war on Germany, the Salvation Army knew there was a great need. Our servicemen were hungry, they were hurting and lonely and scared, and they were homesick. So the then commander of the National Salvation Army, Evangeline Booth, decided that we must do something. And she sent over hundreds of officers, Salvationist officers, who were able to minister and pray and serve donuts in both World War I and World War II. So it was through this relationship that we had established that we were able to actually form the USO in the very beginning. President John Fitzgerald Kennedy said, "As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them." So again, we're just so thankful and grateful for the service that you've given, for everybody that could be here to support you, and that we have this beautiful facility here in Salem that we can host such an event. And with that, let's open in a word of prayer. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we praise you and thank you for this great nation. God, we thank you for the lives of the men and women who have served in our military branches throughout the years. Thank you, God. Be with their families, be with them, help them to overcome any ordeals that may be a result of the wars, of the military service that they've given. God, thank you for this gathering here today that we can commemorate all the veterans in the area, across the nation, Lord, that just want to ensure that we have freedom. God, we thank you for the life that you gave, that we could also be free from sin. We praise you. We thank you again. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Now I have the honor of presenting Representative Parrish.
Thank you. I'm Julie Parrish, and I serve on the House Veterans Affairs Committee, but I'm also just thrilled to be here because for the last 17 years, I've been chasing the U.S. Army. My husband is a full-time soldier here with the Oregon National Guard, and right now he is leading his troops down in Albany through the parade down there for the 41st. It's his last time as an active duty soldier. So we know very well the sacrifice that comes with being in the service. Last year with the 41st, when they came back from Iraq, we had a whole passel of soldiers that came back to no jobs. We've seen all of the toll that it takes to do this job on their families, on our servicemen, on the people in our communities, on our employers. People who actively support our troops are amazing and special people, but the troops themselves and their families, there are no words for what folks who serve this country do. There's just no words. When I think about being in the State House as an Army wife and serving in the Veterans Affairs Committee, when I punch in buttons for all of our veterans and all of our service, because your work serving this country is what lets people who are elected in every State House, in every capital, do our job. We're not Libya and we're not Iran. We have a very free country and a free society, and it is on the backs of a small percentage of soldiers who have kept this country free and defended her honor. So I am very humbled to be here today and stand before you, both as a family member of soldiers. My brother served in Korea. My brother-in-law just came home from Kuwait. Our ancestor was in the Oregon 1st Infantry Division here in the National Guard in the 1800s. We have a long line of family military service. So when I stand up and I get a chance to be on the House floor and speak for veterans, I do that because it is with great honor that I get to serve you in this new role. So very appreciative on this last Veterans Day for us as a family, being active duty and going to transition into the veteran status, to get a chance to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for all that you do, and recognize that without the people in this room, without their families, without the soldier, without people who are willing to stand here and sacrifice, and it's a very small percentage of our country who sacrifices like this, we wouldn't have the country we have. And so I do just thank you for everything that you do, and very glad to be here today. Thank you.
Now we have a great friend of mine, Brian Scott from Home Depot. I did not know if you guys knew this or not, but the state of Oregon has a lot of disabled veterans. And a lot of our veterans don't have the means to have ramps in their home or ambulatory accessibility in their home, and they live a life of isolation. We have some veterans that have not been out of their house for 2, 3, 4 years. We have some veterans that haven't been able to go in the backyard and play with their grandchildren because they're non-ambulatory and they have no way to get to their backyard. The Home Depot saw this as a huge need, and Brian Scott headed up the state of Oregon Home Depot program to help do free service for all of our veterans with disabilities. I'd like to introduce Brian Scott.
Thank you, Byron. Thank you. Home Depot is definitely committed to our veteran community. I'll tell you a couple reasons why I'm here today. Number one, I'm a veteran myself. served in the 101st, and I really appreciate what all the veterans do. And for those of us today that are back here working in the States, 8-hour-a-day jobs, sometimes we don't realize what 24/7 is. And the folks in Afghanistan and Iraq, 24/7 is, I kid you not, 24/7, and I've been there. So I really appreciate all the veterans out here today and the support of those veterans. So thanks to the Kroc Center and the PVA for the invite and the organization of the event. As far as Home Depot goes, the number 2 reason I'm here, besides being a veteran, Home Depot is definitely committed to the veteran community. We have a 3-year commitment right now to spend about $30 million nationally to support veterans. So currently where we stand, we're at about 1 year right now, and we've spent through yesterday just over $9 million, and 9,000 volunteers from Home Depot have been out to support projects nationally for veterans. Locally, we've done 12 projects just in the Salem area and outlying areas with my teams here. We've donated 1,000 volunteer hours in the local community and spent about $20,000 in veterans' homes. And But what's exciting about it, though, is not it's really not the $20,000. It's not the 1,000 volunteer hours that went out there. What's really exciting is to go out and widen a doorway, put a grab bar in, and build a ramp, and see the veteran be able to go to their backyard, better use their shower, not bloody their knuckles going through doorways because the doorways are too narrow. It feels great to get out there and actually go pound nails and tear stuff up and rebuild it. It's great. My team loves it. The store teams love it. We look forward to continuing the projects as we go forward, and I look forward to a long relationship with the PVA and Byron. It's one of the best groups I've ever worked with. I've been doing this for 17 years with Home Depot. We've done Habitat for Humanity and many other charitable organizations for the last 15 years or longer. And the PVA and the veterans that we're supporting today, I couldn't feel better about anything that we've ever done at Home Depot. And being a veteran myself, it's something that I'm just committed to. So you'll have all my effort and energy going forward.
Boy, this room is full of heroes. Brian, Fritz Graham, Mr. Mann, Representative Parrish, all of you guys, each and every one of you that are here today to support our veterans are heroes. And I want you to know I truly appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to introduce a good friend of mine, Fritz Graham, from Senator Wyden's office. Fritz.
Senator Wyden couldn't be here today, but so I have a letter to read from him. Dear honored guests, thank you for inviting me to participate in today's Veterans Day ceremony. Although I am unable to be with you on this special day, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the sacrifices and service of our nation's veterans, as well as the service of men and women in uniform today. We commemorate Veterans Day on the anniversary of the armistice that ended the First World War. However, more importantly than observing this historic date, we honor all men and women that have served their country. Whether in times of war or in times of peace, veterans and members of the armed forces have stood on the forefront in protecting our nation's security and prosperity. The importance of their work and the role that they have played in shaping this country cannot be understated. The brave men and women that we are recognizing today know the price of freedom, for they have paid it. Each has a story of individual sacrifice, of families left behind, of brothers and sisters lost in battle, of battle scars that often dwell far beneath the skin. For these great concessions and for many others, I am grateful. We must not and will not forget your service and the service of those who made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of our country. The stories of duty, honor, and courage act as constant reminders of your dedication and commitment to the freedoms that we as Americans are all able to enjoy today. Again, thank you for including me in today's celebrations. I wish you all the very best on this special day. Sincerely, Ron Wyden, United States Senator.
At this time, I have the honor of introducing Tom Mann from the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs. Tom Mann.
Right now, there's a group of people to my right, your left, whose backs are hurting and whose knees are shaking. Honor Guard, you rock. Thanks for doing what you're doing. World War II veterans, please raise your hands. World War II veterans. Yes. Yes. World War II veterans, you were the ones that saved the world. We are here today gathering in this place in freedom primarily because of your sacrifices, so thank you. Thank you. Any Korea War veterans here with us today? Korea War. All right. Korea War veterans, know that you are not forgotten. When you came home to quietness, but we love you. We have not forgotten you. Vietnam veterans, raise your hands. Welcome home. Welcome home. How you were treated when you got home is a black mark in our history. May it never happen again. Cold War veterans, outstanding. I am one in your ranks, and I'll tell you that sometimes the Cold War veterans don't like to raise their hands in public because we didn't do anything. That is not true. You kept the peace. You were the sword in the sheath that kept other nations from challenging us for fear of it being wielded. Thank you for your service. Any of our veterans here from Panama, Grenada, Beirut, Lebanon, don't forget them. They served their country quietly in small places and moved on with their lives. So when you see those men and women from Bosnia, those places that we don't talk about very much, don't forget them. Thank them for their service. Gulf War veterans, first Gulf War. There she is, all right. Know that you are not overshadowed by what's happening today in our global war on terrorism. We appreciate you. What you did for those 100 hours while I was sitting home wishing I was there with you, driving my wife absolutely stir crazy. What you did was you saved a country. You saved a country. Iraq, Afghanistan veterans. Any Iraq, Afghanistan veterans? All right. For 10 years, we've been in the field. 10 long years, fighting for freedom. And some people, doesn't matter your politics, some people agree, some people don't agree, but that doesn't matter because we're sending men and women into harm's way. Let me tell you something unique about Iraq and Afghanistan. During Vietnam, 7,000 women served in the armed forces, mainly as nurses. Today, more than 250,000 women have served in combat roles. I don't care what they say, they're on the front lines in Iraq and Afghanistan. Do not forget that the face of our military is changing, and women veterans deserve their due for what they've done. Iraq, Afghanistan veterans, thank you for serving. You know, the greatest generation, that World War II generation, has told me that this generation, the Iraq, Afghanistan generation, is a great generation, and I can't disagree with them at all about that. So thank you for your service. Thank you. Veterans in the room, I want you to remember your day of your induction, whether you were drafted or you enlisted or you're an officer and you got your bars. Remember that day you rose your right hand and you swore to defend this nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic? Was that a pledge you took just for your service? No, we took that for our life. We gave ourselves to this country. Whether you served 3 days, 3 years, 30 years, that commitment you have never died. There's a bond between veterans. We know each other. We find each other. Some of us shop at night together. Those that are laughing know what I'm talking about. We had a shared experience. You remember basic training when we got off the bus and people started yelling at us for no reason? Remember when they shaved your head and And Jessica's saying no. Jessica, you got lucky. Shaved our head, gave us clothes to wear, still yelling at us. Remember how they trained us in basic training to do things we never thought we could do? You know, I had my moment about 40 feet up in the air. Remember that thing you had to climb, and each log got farther and farther apart, and I'm 6'2", and I'm standing on the last one, and they expect me to jump to get to the top one and go over the top of it? That was my moment of truth, where when I did it, I realized I'm 10 feet tall and bulletproof. I can do anything. There are men and women standing around today wearing the uniform. Our brothers and sisters. Let's give them a round of applause for your service. Combat veterans. Combat veterans. You share a bond that was forged through the fire. And at the time, it wasn't about flag or country. It was about the man or woman on your left and right. And we honor you. Doesn't matter what our country thought, right, wrong, public, whatever. You did something others wouldn't do. You know, we hear a lot of talk about the 1%. My friends, you are the 1%. You are the people that stood up when no one else would heed the call, whether, again, you were drafted or you volunteered. And you said, I will serve. And you did so honorably, and you came home, and you reintegrated back into society. And the fascinating thing for me is you don't want anything. But you've earned so much. So I'm here to tell you today, the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs cares about you. We love you. My director says that veterans are not a special interest, they're a sacred interest. I could not agree more. So thank you for your service. But I have one last challenge for you. We have men and women coming home. We have a lot more coming home as we downsize things in Iraq. We say thank you for your service. It's a great thing. But veterans in the room, we need to do more. When you see that young man or that young woman who's come home, if you see that Vietnam veteran, if you see that Korea War or World War II veteran, you see that man or woman wearing their hat proudly, thank them for their service, but then ask them, how are you doing? Because you know what? Some of them aren't doing very well. And if we don't take care of our brothers and sisters, who will? So to the 1%, I thank you. I thank you for having the courage to raise your hand and swear to defend this country. I thank you for what you've done since you've been home. And I challenge you to serve once again to take care of our brothers and sisters as they come home, having served their country as honorably as you. Thanks for the time.
Please stand. Thank you, everybody. Today's outline, we're going to disperse from our opening ceremonies, reacquaint ourselves back in the gymnasium. I'd like all of us to thank all of our guest speakers today. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you again, McNary Band, for being here to entertain us today. I'm excited to hear you guys perform. I'm so happy that we have so many neat service organizations here, benefit organizations here. Currently in the state of Oregon, we have over 374,000 veterans, and we have less than 70,000 are actually connected with their benefits. We have a high homeless rate, almost 40% of our homeless population is veterans. We need to start doing our job to take care of these men and women that have done their job to take care of each and every one of us. Let's have a great day today. They'll be serving lunch around the noon hour. Enjoy each other, cross-pollinate each other, and thank you so much for being here for Veterans Day. Paralyzed Veterans of America has been around since World War II. Back during the ending of World War II, we had a lot of men and women coming home with catastrophic injuries, and we had no programs in place for them, counseling programs, rehabilitation programs, therapies, really not a lot of mechanisms for them at all. And most of them had a life expectancy anywhere from 6 months to 11 months. And then they were just falling off left and right. So a group of paralyzed veterans that were physically paralyzed approached Congress and talked to them about this issue. Congress then commissioned the PVA, the Paralyzed Veterans of America, to be the umbrella for all of our disabled veterans from World War II all the way up to current day. Today, throughout the country, we have over 36 offices and chapters doing nothing but taking care of all of our disabled veterans, helping them get connected with their benefits, their entitlements, connecting them with great organizations like here, working with them on rehab programs, so on and so forth. Now, the life expectancy of these young men and women is as long as you and I, living to 80, 85, 90 years of age. In the state of Oregon, there's over 374,000 veterans in our state. Currently, less than 70,000 are connected with their benefits and their entitlements. So we have a lot of veterans that are becoming homeless. They have no jobs. They're not getting their benefits. It's leading to family issues, divorce oftentimes. If you're a disabled veteran and you come home from service, you have a 94% chance of going through a divorce and a 74% chance of committing suicide. Today, we've lost more men and women stateside due to suicide than we have in the whole last 10 years in Iraq and Afghanistan, simply because we aren't doing the best job we can to get our young men and women connected with their benefits, their entitlements, therapies, rehabilitation programs, medical benefits, so on and so forth. So they're losing a lot of hope. But as you can tell here today, we have a lot of great community members, great organizations. They're here to support our veterans, to give them opportunities to get counseling, to get connected with their benefits, so on and so forth.
Hello, my name is Maria Salazar. I'm the Director of Development for the Salvation Army, Marion-Polk County. And this is Veterans Day. We want to say thank you for your support. We want to say thank you to our servicemen and women who have given their lives, their sacrifice, their families to fight for us and protect this country. God bless you, and if you need anything, come to the Salvation Army and we will be happy to serve you.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Misty Rupp of the Salvation Army Ray and Joan Kroc War Community Center here in Salem, Oregon. I just want to say a great big thank you to all our veterans in the community and across the nation who have served us so diligently and just sacrificing their lives and their time to better our nation and world. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, we love you, and we're here to help you with whatever we can. God bless.